Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's Banter with Oyi, and we're still discussing the book by Max Cillian, Oil, Politics, and Violence, which discusses the military coup culture of the Nigerian military. Today we'll be talking about what happened in each of the regions, how the coup happened in these regions, and we're going to start with Kaduna, Northern Region. Now, Major Iziogu and Major Tim Owutegu they were monitoring the Sardauna. Now, rumor has it that the Sardauna knew that it was being monitored. My thing is, if the Sardauna knew it was being monitored, why not do something about it? You are powerful and you feel like some people are watching you. Do something about it. Now, at this point, Ezego was doing security trainings. He would take his guys, they would go on the street, they would practice, they would shoot. They were doing this by the Saldana's house. Brigadier Ademilegu called Ezeagu and said he should move his training exercise away from the Saldana's lodge and not disturb him. Now, at that point, my thing is yes, Ezeagu had the power to do this based on his position, but knowing that there's talks about coup, why didn't Brigadier Ademilegu question like, why are you here? Why are we doing this? What is going on? Like you're a brigadier for Christ's sake. This guy is a major. You can question him, and you because Ademilego already had some sort of inkling to the fact that there might just be a coup, and the Southerner felt like he was being watched. So why didn't he do something? Anyways, at this point, Ezegu finally, the night of early hours of January 15th, 1966, Ezegu turned his exercise into a full-blown coup where he told the members of his group that hello people, this is not a exercise that we are using to play. This is the 411. It's a full-blown overthrow of the government. Now he said that he wasn't armed, so he told them, and they had the opportunity to shoot at him, but instead they followed him. Well, maybe some people could have turned back, but then I imagine that it will be difficult to turn back in a situation whereby everybody has come. Maybe they all agree with him, and you don't want to feel like if I leave, they will shoot me. You know, but then he wasn't harmed, so one person could have, taken him out, but they didn't do that. And according to Ezegu, it was a show of showmanship, well, of true Nigerianism, because all of his guys at that point, they were ethnically diverse. There was Igbo, Yoruba, Efik, different tribes. The Northerners were also there. So, anyways, he took all of them into the Sardanas house. Now, once they entered the house of the senior assistant secretary for security was connected to the Sardanas house. So once he drove to the Sardanas house, immediately entered there like this. He was off. Now at this point, Sardana too was already gone. Now, Kaduna residents, they were already used to the shooting, the everyday shooting and all of that. So they felt like it was just another exercise by the military. Now, but when they woke up in the morning and they went to Saldana's house, they all saw the mess. They saw the craziness. I would imagine that the Saldana just huffed. Riots, protest, do something. No, these people from the north decided to loot the Saldana's house. Like how they looted. Now, at this point, on the other, well, they looted the house basically. Now, on the other side of town, where Major is still in Kaduna, Major Tim led the soldiers to Brigadier Demilego's house. Now, I imagine that there are two ways that this must have happened. They bust into his house, boom, and then they go straight to his bedroom. And once they open the door, they not even give me a minute to think. They sprayed him out. But according to this story, is that once they burst into his room, the major was trying to, open the drawer, but at that point, he was off. Him and his wife. Unfortunately, his kids were also in the house when this happened. But fortunately, they did not, do anything to the kids. And subsequently, the wife of GOC, that is the wife of Agwen Ironsi, took them in and they were given scholarship up to the university level. Now, Major Hassan Castina ordered a corporal and a sergeant to go and confirm, the noise, all the drama at the Saldana's house, as well as um Ademilegun's house. And when they got there, they found the bodies everywhere. Matter of fact, at Ademilegun's house, the coup plotters allowed other military men to just enter and indiscriminately look at the body, which was quite disrespectful. Another Colonel Shodende was also off, but the way he was off was unconfirmed, is unconfirmed because his wife said Major Ezegu and Major Tim were the ones that offed the husband. But then Major Ezegu was at the Saldana's launch, so he couldn't have been in two places at once. Now, Major Tim particularly, the way he would off or not off people was very confusing because, for example, the governor of the north, Kashim Ibrahim, the Major Tim treated him with so much respect to the point where the governor said he wanted, like, northern soldiers were like, we should off him because he's a part of this corrupt government. But Major Tim is like, no, nothing is going to happen to this guy. To the point where the guy said he wants to go home, and Major Tim got him an aircraft that took him home. I just feel like that governor Kashim Ibrahim should be thanking his stars. Like whatever he used to have his bad that morning was working. Now, strategic locations, the coup plotters, they manned the broadcasting facilities, they were in charge of the radio and TV stations, they took over telephone exchange, and they mounted roadblocks at different strategic locations in Kaduna. Now, at the western region, particularly in Ibadan, Chief Samuel Akitola had been informed that the soldiers were coming for him. His deputy, Chief Remy Fanikayode, was first arrested by the soldiers and he was taken from Ibadan to the Federal Guard barracks in Lagos. Fortunately, he was released by Lieutenant Colonel Gowon. Now, Chief Remy Fanikayode, his son, witnessed his arrest. I just wanted to put that there. No, no, his son. His son's one that likes yellow, yellow women. So he's following yellow women. Anyways, Kayode's wife, that's Remy Fanny Kayode's Remy Fanny Kayode's wife, called Akitola to inform him about what was happening. Now, when Captain Wobosi arrived at Akitola's house, they went into the courtyard and announced that, oh, Chief Samuel Akitola, come downstairs. You need to be arrested. I don't know what Chief Akitola thought who he was. I think he thought he was, James Bond or Sylvester Stallone. Yeah, Sylvester Stallone is the one that used to really shoot back in the day. All these movies were all about shooting back in the day, right? Because it was Rambo. I think it was Rambo. Anyways, Chief Samuel Akitola thought it was Rambo. So once they announced for him to come downstairs, he opened fire and started shooting back at them and everything to the point where he injured um, Captain Wabosi and two other officers that were with him. But at the end of the day, he was also off, him and his nephew. At the time, he had his son and their daughters and their grandchildren in the house. But fortunately, they weren't, impacted by all of this. Now, Wabosi also displayed a puzzling mix of brutality because on his way to go to Akitola's house, there was a pregnant woman on the road that they stopped to help because she was in labor. My thing is, they had a mission. The mission was remove corrupt government. The pregnant woman on the road, probably there was nobody to help her, and he decided to help. They are two different things. I don't think they are so. Yes, they were brutal in their actions of the coup, but it doesn't make them terrible people. Does that make sense? Helping a pregnant woman and focusing on people that were corrupt were different things. I think, yeah. In Lagos State, the coup was led by Major Emmanuel Ifejuna, and people that were assisting him was Major Wale Ademoyiga, Don Okafor, Chris Anofuru, and Humphrey Chukwuka. The Prime Minister had just finished meeting with three of his cabinets earlier in the day. Now, between 2 and 3 a.m., Ifejuna gained access to the Prime Minister's residence. They subdued the officers on duty, and then they spoke to the ADC that take us to the Prime Minister. The ADC was trying to, he was trying to move his way around it to say, no, I can't take you there. I don't have the keys to go in there. But at the end of the day, while they were making that argument, the prime minister came out and then they said, "Oh, Sir, Sir Tafa Balewa, you are under arrest." And they allowed him to pray. And he was wearing a white gown, slippers, and trousers. Now, particularly his Igbo ADC pleaded with them. As a matter of fact, when they drove out, he followed them, kept following them till the Prime Minister himself, Tafa Balewa, told him to go back. Now, the Prime Minister's domestic staff called the Commissioner of Police and the Army General are going also to inform him that Prime Minister had been arrested. After the arrest of the Prime Minister, the soldiers that were still part of the coup went to the next door and then they picked Pestrian Sam, that's the Minister of Finance. Rumor has it that his own arrest was very aggressive. They tapped him, they beat him, they did all sorts of things to him, and then they threw him into the truck like a sack of potatoes. Okay, they just put him inside the truck. I did not. I'm the one that added sack of. They just put him inside the truck and then they drove away. Now, Major Ademoyega, who is also part of the coup, had set up roadblocks. They also, in Lagos, they also, took over strike locations. The police HQ, which is Lions Building. When you think about Lions Building today, we don't know how much has gone down in those places, buildings that we know today that still exist in 2024. The history that those places could tell us if they could speak, you will be surprised. Now, they also the Nigerian external communication buildings. The major personally informed the employees that don't connect any calls at this point. Now, Lagema on the side, just like we discussed in Ikoyi Hotel, Lieutenant Colonel Agbo Lagema walked into an ambush in Ikoyi Hotel, which is after Brigadier Malari's wedding, and he was subsequently off. For Brigadier Malari's house, the soldiers that were part of the coup went to his house and they tried to bluff their way into his house. They were telling the security guard they were here to take over and they were arguing. On the other side, my Malari was in his house, he was taking a phone call, and all of a sudden he heard the machine gun going off. Baba took off on foot. He ran away. Now, the majors that were part of the coup were started chasing him and they were chasing him. Major Kafo, they didn't catch him. Now, as Brigadier my Malari was running and moving on foot, he met with another group of military officers coming. Think about it like this is like a perfect movie scene. Some guy is running from, is running from. This is like I think I'm thinking about a horror movie where somebody is running from the person that's about to off them, and they are running, and then they see some people coming, and they're like, "Oh my God, thank God, somebody's going to save me." And you're like stopping them, waiting for them to help you. And they get to the front of the person and they're just like, "Oh, this is not helpful." And that's why he was off because he was running on foot from Major Kafo and his goons and then ran into Major Ifejuna. When he saw Major Ifejuna, he stopped Major Ifejuna because he's like, "Hey, this is my junior." What they do? Once they offed him, now you know that the prime minister, because they were coming from the prime minister's house, prime minister was still in the car, but they offed my malary in the process. So far, they have offed Brigadier Malari, Sardauna, Agema. They've arrested Festus Okoti, and they've also offed Chief Laduki Akitola and Brigadier Ademilebu. This is such a sad, sad story. And this is like the first coup in Nigeria that has sort of pushed us to where we are today, that defines a lot of decisions that is made. That's one of the reasons why people, political class, treats the Igbo tribe the way they do. But what blows my mind is how some Igbo people in the political class treat their own tribe the way they do, which tells us that we as people, the political class, they are not necessarily tribalistic. I would always say that they are not tribalistic because they know what they are benefiting from each other. It is me and you that are on the other end of the stick and receiving the problems that their union produces. But most of us are all like looking from the lens of tribe, which is what is causing the problem. As much as they try to project, the political class tries to project this tribe, They are not tribalistic towards each other. They are in their rooms, they are in their meetings, they are in their cabinets, signing up deals that would benefit them without thinking about whether this person is Igbo, Yoruba, Hausa, Efik, or from the South. It is me and you, the masses, that is worrying about whether the Igbo man is about to steal from me or the Yoruba man is tribalistic or whatever the situation is. We are the puppets. And I hope that everybody is learning and understanding that when you want to vote, if you do have the opportunity to vote during the next election, don't vote based on tribe. Vote based on who you think will bring Nigeria a better place if you have the opportunity to. Thank you so much for coming to this episode. Please subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.